Hello everyone. So today we're the final best of fives of the playing phase, where the last two teams were able to qualify for World's group stage. The first best of five was between Group A's Legacy and Group B's LGD. So going into game one, both teams drafted rather aggressive bot lanes, both mids, globals on their ultimates, as we saw in many games, to carry farm junglers. And yeah, on top lane is like a major difference in the champions the teams look for. Renekton from LGD is more early game focused. It's somewhat of a bridge champion for the scaling of the rest. Legacy's champions overall have like more stronger team fights with their ults working well together. Yeah, so each team has has something they're looking for. Overall, Peanut starting the game with nice snowballing. He's falling behind in CS, right? If you're ganking and getting kills, but still getting the leads for his laners, especially in mid and the top lane. In mid lane, Xie himself was already pressuring heavily solo, and yeah, overall the team using this pressure to rotate between the lanes, pressuring in the enemy jungle, securing with a herald all the top turrets and the mid outer turret, and getting another herald as well, enabling LGD for a 3k gold lead in 16 minutes. Yeah, rather controlled, not letting Legacy do much, just through raw player skill in laning. The third Drake was then spawning, so Legacy was looking for their team fight, right? They have their champions who excel in that, and are not liking these skirmishes and global rotations all that much. They want to wombo combo in close quarters. So yeah, a team fight breaks out in the 22nd minute. Yeah, sadly so for Legacy, LGD's lead increases after Langex finds the Kalista from Rice and Isles from flank, and yeah, getting kills again and again, and securing even the Baron afterwards. A really early dragon, enabling LGD's lead to skyrocket to 7k, so it's just in a few minutes it nearly doubled. With their strong laners and now like peaking champions, LGD is able to push through every lane, getting every but one inhibitor, yeah, cementing their control over the map and in the game. Legacy is though able to fend them off, getting 2 kills even, but it's all too late. LGD with an 8k gold lead, and Legacy's base completely in shambles, just having 4 structures left. Yeah, LGD getting the Cloud Soul with Legacy stepping out of their base to contest it. Yeah, they're getting wiped. Not many kills per minute, or many kills overall. LGD just controlled and methodically getting the objectives, securing farm leads and XP leads, and then fighting the fights they know they will win, and using each fight to get an objective and not fighting needlessly. So yeah, we see a great improvement comparison to what we saw in groups, but that's also already something we saw in the best of 5 yesterday. It's good to see LGD further improving their style. So moving into game number 2, we see some Poppy play into Nidalee and Camille. Obviously, the W step-fast presence can disrupt their dashes, but the blinks of Kassadin and Ezreal, they don't care about Poppy all that much. So Poppy is something for some team fights in the mid game, but then later she will be out split pushed, and the tanks or the damage threats can just ignore her. Yeah. So we see in the bot lane a Draven against an Ezreal, but yeah, Ezreal is rather safe. Yeah, Draven will push him, get turret plates, but kill threat is rather low. Lilia tries to early invade, but Peanut punishes it quite nicely, and nothing special happens afterwards. It's just out farming, right? Kassadin is out farming a TF with 15 CS, and then Legacy is handshaking it with a Muramana, the Draven build, just scaling for mid game. Still, Legacy has the pressure in bot lane, able to get Infernal Drake, while Peanut secures Herald as a trade. Overall, with some pressure through roaming from mid lane and the strong bot lane, Legacy is able to get some plates here and there. The gold lead is nearly even, though just 1k ahead for LGD, sorry. But sadly, they want to be ahead with their champions, and the TF not being able to use his R at any point, being pushed into the turret, and even the gold just 1k behind with TF passive as well as Draven passive. That's sad. Yeah. So there are no fights or skirmishes. So Draven is further devalued, and he has to wait for his cash in. And it's a good thing to see LGD not playing towards Legacy's win condition. So it's now a total turnaround from the foolishness they showed in group stages, where they were fighting even though they want to split, or they were fighting when enemy had item power spikes. In the 17th minute, Shia is able to solo take the mid lane turret on Kassadin, while Draven gets the bot turret, but with Herald, LGD is even able to get the top turret, and then with overall their CS and so on, a 4k lead for the scaling comp. This sets Legacy on some sort of a timer at the third Drake. They are able to get the fight, trade even 3 for 3, and first blood falls in the 21st minute, and a kill for Draven. A Legacy is pushing that, and LGD is a bit putting on their brains on vacation, fighting again and again and again, losing more turrets and lives, shortening the gold lead, and instead of stopping these fights and starting to play a 1-3-1 or 1-4 variation, they handshake even more fights. Still, with the 4th Drake spawning, you think something might happen. They were trading the Drakes, if you haven't been listening too closely to that. Mark being pushed off, picked off, and Shie also getting stunned and killed. Peanut rescues the game by stealing the Soul Drake, but LGD still loses the fight and completely evens out the gold lead. This is still not super great for them, but they were heavily losing, and with LGD having to fight a Drake and not playing to their win condition, Legacy is starting to take over the map. even able to get a Baron, and pushing afterwards the mid inhib, establishing afterwards a 3k gold lead, having turned the game now completely. Yeah. So Soul Drake coming up again, and yeah, a decisive fight has to come up. Legacy could then completely win the game, but yeah, LGD is now completely online. Remember, I said they are more scaling heavily, and yeah, this was shown in this team fight. Kassadin was now at 3 items, and with a nice flash ult onto the Draven, nearly completely one-shotting him. She was actually able to get a quadra kill in this team fight, and obviously getting the Drake as well, denying Soul once again. Legacy, a bit shell-shocked afterwards, was forcing around Baron, and yeah, LGD further baiting them into taking the Baron. But with all of them in the pit, LGD can completely collapse on them. A 4v5 happens, and this ended in a 5-1 for LGD, completely wiping them, yeah, and finishing the game afterwards. So after a good early game, LGD was running it down mid-game, taking fights they shouldn't have. Legacy then punishing this, getting objectives and pushing their lead, setting up a good control over the map. But in crucial moments, the individual prowess of LGD pushes them over the edge, right? Peanut stealing the first Soul Drake, and then Shia popping off and getting a quadra in the following fight, resulting in a late game state LGD wanted, which enabled them to win, and yeah, to win the most important fights then later. So a 2-0 lead for LGD now, coming to a match point game 3. Legacy's world's hopes are on the line. So they go for some more scaling, having teamfight potential again, playing towards their strengths of what their players excel at. Legacy, LGD going for a more skirmish and mid-game comp this time. So yeah, top lane Camille versus Wooly. Yeah, early ahead for the Wooly game, farming junglers for both sides again. Also like in game 1, both mids with roaming level 6 champs. Ezreal Twitch in the bot lane. So Ezreal is a better laner. Twitch then has some nice combos with Galio, and obviously his spray and pray in the team fights is a bit more explosive than what an Ezreal does usually. Yeah, Peanut using the bot lane pressure, then getting the Mountain Drake moving to top, so he was all over the map actually, diving the Camille with TF's help. Afterwards, with Babit being in bot lane, he's able to secure the Drake, and is actually able to secure their first Herald in the entire series. So yeah, looking a bit better maybe, but yeah, then Legacy tries to get a pick on Kramer with their Twitch, but yeah, this is not working all too well. She is TPing with his 3F ult down bot lane. They kill him and secure the first Drake. After a cross map trade 2 for 2, Legacy is actually able to get the third Drake just for their jungler's life. But still, with these trades going about even, sometimes in LGD's favor, and the TF passive, better CS in most lanes, LGD is ahead once again. Yeah, this is something we saw in play-ins quite often. Often one team has just better players, and they will play out the laning phase quite effectively, gaining CS advantages passively. So even if the objectives are traded evenly, and even if no kills happen, one team will suddenly be ahead by 1k or 1.5k just through their CS leads because of the individual prowess of the players. LGD looks for a play mid. No, Legacy, my bad. These names. Looks for a play mid onto Marks Alistair, which, it's not that smart to full on engage on an Alistair. He can just R and combo, and like he's really safe. This is heavily punished. They lose three lives, and the Baron afterwards. It was just around the 20th minute. And yeah, LGD now firmly in control with a 5k gold lead. Legacy growing more and more desperate, right? This is their elimination match. So yeah, they go all out. But these aggressive plays are being punished by LGD more and more, getting picks here and there, and then taking their base, 2 inhibs, and then even looking for the end in the 23rd minute. So yeah, this shows how much in control they were. Their champions, I said, mid-game champions, they were spiking right then and there, having their item spikes, and then the 7k lead against the against the enemy team comp, who were not really getting their items, was a great advantage. But LGD doesn't want to risk anything spectacular, right? The enemy team comp still has their ults and the potential to wombo, and also Soul Drake was coming up, so they reset and take it. LGD, I don't know why, but desperate again, try to move into the jungle to maybe pick LGD again, or look for a steal, anything, right? We have to understand how desperate they are. And they even get a decent engage off, are able to kill the cow, but yeah, it's not enough. LGD way too far ahead, so yeah, they ace them and finish the game. 3-0 in quite convincing fashion. Just game 2 was a bit of a toss in the mid game for LGD, but even then their early game and their late game team fighting were really immaculate. So yeah, LGD wins. This means they 100% move into Group C, and yeah, LGD overall having found their way. It's not perfect yet, but it looks like way better than what they were showing on day 1 in the play-in group stage. So they can be proud of their improvement. Overall, this is a mindset many people have over for play-ins. People are able to ramp up and warm up, refine their style in these extra games they get to play before Worlds. So yeah, in many cases we saw teams who were struggling in play-ins actually do decent or good in Worlds. I think it was last year with Splice. They were close to lose to UOL, but then they actually got second in their group. Yes, it was a really, really easy group, but they even had a tiebreaker for game 1 against FBX. So yeah, play-ins often is overvalued the game performance, because it's actual training games for the people who make it through. So moving to the MVPs of this game, of this series. For game 1, Peanut's jungle performance really was able to glue all the leads together. The players of LGD were able to get individual, and he was snowballing it heavily to the top side, freeing up for roams. Yeah, so he was their key player in this game, and even in the other games he was doing really well, sacrificing himself for the team. But yeah, in the other games, Xie was popping off. He had some moments here and there, right, where he was punished. Like some Kassadin plays where well, he was gold carded and stunned. But anyway, he popped off in the important moments and was always winning his lane, many CS, even in matchups where he shouldn't. So yeah, he gets the MVP for game 2 and 3, obviously, is Kassadin. Wow. And then yeah, this obviously makes him the series MVP again. Even in game 1, where Peanut was the really key player, I thought, he was doing well and was a perma punishing alone, no, top Tully in the matchup. So yeah, that's it for the first series. So yeah, look forward to the next video where we see UL versus Supermassive. Anyway, have a great day.